Something I noticed the other day was a strange trend when it comes to how Genshin Impact chooses to introduce its artifacts. And in noticing such a thing, I also came to conclude that new sets are really niche. Today, I aim to explore this strange trend with you all, and discern just how niche modern artifact sets are, and see how many units can use them, and figure out how you can optimize your future artifact runs the best with this considered. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. Genshin consistently introduces new sets every few patches, sometimes to coincide with a new character's release. Something that's been guaranteed for every major new patch, such as 3.0, 4.0, any of the X.0s, is two meta-defining artifact sets that will affect a majority of the best characters within that region. One will be game-breaking and the other will be a little bit more specific, but still nutty on the whole. Let's take Fontaine for instance, the most recent example. 4.0 introduced the Hunters and Golden Troop sets, both of which are viable on nearly every Fontaine character, also featuring hugely flexible two-pieces, whereas later on in 4.3, we got Nighttime and Song of Days Past. Nighttime is pretty much only good for Navia, and even then is replaceable with Hunters in a Navia Farina duo team. And it'll be very competitive with that set. Its main benefit is how it'll be best across all of our teams as well. And Days Past, it has a cool name, but outside of that, you'd think it was the Xianyan set. Hypothetically, sure. It can work in a Xiao team, which is a fully animal comp, except for Farina, which is why 4-piece VV is a valid alternative even if its setups can be a little iffy, because you can still swirl that other source of elemental damage. It just ends up being very situational at best. Then, very recently, we got Harmonic and the Burning set. Both of these sets tailor to future mechanics. Bond of Life is becoming more relevant with Arlecchino and Clorand, but the issue is that you can just use those old Glad sets you've got lying around for both of them, and the Burning set is an obvious hint to your future unit, most likely Emily. Who else would it be for? Then let's compare to Sumeru. 3.0 gave us Deepwood Memories and Gilded Dreams, both highly meta-defining sets for the entire Sumeru region. Then we get the Wanderer set paired with Flowers. Wanderer set is only best in slot on him, and it's paired with a set which only has a viable 2-piece. I believe at least Kuki can use the 4 set, but there are other alternatives. It's not even 5% better than most choices. Then later on we got Vorukasha's Glow and Nymph's Dream. Yeah, Glow's 4 set works on literally nobody, and Nymph's is a set which nobody wants to use as well. Child, I guess, but I'll delve into that more later. So, notice something strange? I do. I'm seeing a formula. Even 2.0 solidifies this. Granted, Shimenawa's is not as insane of a partner set as Gilded or Troop, but it's still solid, and all of us 2.x era players understand just how terrifying the Emblem era was. And then we got the Geo set, which admittedly was honestly quite good for the likes of Noelle, who's a relevant unit, and is still good for characters like Ito and Chiori. Clam has a place in physical Clorand teams, aka the team where Clorand uses Skyward Blade and Chi-Chi abuses Ocean-Hued Clam. Kokomi not so much anymore, as you'd rather run her on EM for Bloom or TOTM for freeze DPS buffing. And in 2.6, Echoes in Vermilion. Echoes is just an internet check, so it's unviable for a large chunk of people, and Vermilion is literally just for Xiao. Guess Ziox never had a problem with that. 2.0 follows this trend more loosely, but the framework is still there. The formula is as stated. First set released is a busted set for the entire region. Second set will be a lot more niche, tailoring to a much smaller group of characters. And the third set will be built for literally 1 to 2 units at best. If Bond of Life is expanded upon, then Harmonic may be breaking this trend, but there are exceptions to every rule. So now we've established the trend. Who are the units guilty of needing such sets? What other more options are there to farm more efficiently? And how much better is said alternative over the mainstay? Let's discuss. We'll go from 3.0 to 4.0 since that's when this problem became egregious, with a specific focus on the really random sets. So, Nymphs, you're up. Get on the stand. The set seems good on paper and is an upgrade over HOD. The problem? 4-piece HOD has only ever had one true user historically, being Child. Even then, HOD suffered from only buffing his normals and ignoring his nuclear burst, resulting in 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Hydro being better for him. Also, Child is such a specific character that literally only international players will own. Ayato also just straight up prefers HOD because his damage majority comes from his normals, which HOD buffs, not to mention that he has 15 other set choices, I swear to god. and the attack percent does nothing for Nuve. You're using Mayo Hunter on him no matter what. Pretty much all of her Hydros have an ever preferred set which is way more flexible and tailors to their kit better. So Nymphs, like I said, has no users. Vorukasha's is pretty sad. It was meant to be a Dia set, but it did a super poor job of being that. It hardly fixed any of her gameplay related issues, like having her burst cancel if you try to move around during it, and it was barely a damage increase to her. This makes the Nymphs Voru domain genuinely one of the worst domains in the game in my opinion. There is no viable reason to be farming it unless you're after the 2-piece effects. Yikes! Not to mention how there's alternatives like 2-piece tenacity. You could want 2-piece HP, 2-piece HP for Nilou, that's about it. Then for Desert Pavilion and Flowers. Desert is alright honestly, it's best in slot on Wanderer, can work on Xiao, doesn't mean I entirely recommend it over his other options, and other animal DPSs can make do. But let's be real, you're all here for Honda Boy's artifacts. Flowers honestly sounds like a great set on paper, but you'd be surprised by the small amount of users it has. I've only ever seen this set be specifically farmed for Kuki Shinobu or other Hyperbloom triggers. It's no necessity, you can just slap on whatever 2-piece EM stuff you've got, or just use 4-piece Gilded Dreams. Flowers can be used on Toma and EM Raiden too, but it's only like 4 to 5% better than using 4-piece Gilded Dreams. Then the 4.0 era niche sets. Nighttime Whispers is good for Navia, but its only ever user is Ningguang, and if you're using Ningguang, that was your first mistake. It works across all Navia teams, which is nice, honestly a good set for her, but the fact that using Hunters when pairing with Farina can beat out her 6 set really devalues it in my eyes. I don't think this is the set's fault, as much as it is Hoyo's, for continuously giving us trashy Geo units. The best part about Song of Days Past is its cool name. Other than that, this set leaves a lot to be desired. It's a good set on paper. Once again, having healers providing buffing capabilities is not bad. The problem is that most good healers already have another artifact choice that is more worth running. Xianyan on VV, Kokomi on EM or TOTM, Chi-Chi on Clam, so it's just a redundant set on the whole. It can work nicely on Chevrus, who's very nice in Overload, and Charlotte, who has a place in Neuvalet Freeze, so there are a couple of users at the very least. I felt like it would be disingenuous to not mention that. The Bond of Life set is once again fine on paper. I think the effect is quite strong actually. Much like the Burning set, time is gonna have to tell. Emily will obviously be Burning related. Come on Hoyo, we're not stupid. We can put 2 and 2 together in terms of what's to come when you literally add a Burning artifact set with 0 competent users of it. The Bond of Life set is honestly amazing for Arla. The issue is that us long-term players have very difficult to replace Gladiator's pieces, though for new players, it is worth the farm. For Clorande, the Bond of Life set is not only the best across all her teams, but is best for her personal DPS, but you can strongbox Thundering Fury and get by fine. We'll have to wait for Emily to see how good Burning will be. If Notline continues to make Burning solid, that's great. Otherwise, we have one character-only set Itis all over again. But the thing is, 5.0 will release new, meta-defining sets, and the cycle shall repeat itself. How can you farm your artifacts more efficiently with all these domains around? How do you know that you're making the right, most future-proof choice? Hey, that's what I'm here to help you out with. So, I'm gonna recommend domains based on A, how many characters they cover, and B, how good the characters they cover actually are. First up, stating the obvious, the 4.0 domain. If you have Farina, then every DPS can use Mayo Hunters. Consider how all of the best DPSs right now enjoy Mayo. Noivy, Linny, Xiao, etc. Other best DPSs like Arlecchino, you can strongbox Gladiators in the meantime, or obtain it from naturally fighting bosses in the overworld. 2-piece skill percent is just good in general for characters like Fischl, and the 4-piece as well. Great partner set to have. And while I think 5.0 will add Deepwood to the strongbox, try to get a triple EM Deepwood set. Then your Nihida can cover literally any scenario for a cheap cost. And always, I mean always save your EM main stat pieces. I used to do this pre-Dendro because I was aware that an EM circlet was one of the rarest drops you could get. This paid off tremendously when 3.0 rolled around and all of those pieces finally saw some use. When you farm these sets, strongbox at least 2 Viridescent Venerer sets and at least 3 Competent Emblem sets for Yolan, Xingqiu, and Xiangling respectively. For Viridescent Venerer, just slap a 4-piece on your Animos. Have 2 just in case, and then try to aim for triple EM down the line. I personally don't like farming strongboxable domains in the domains themselves, but you can consider farming Emblem if you're desperate. Also, make sure to strongbox 4-piece Noblesse for Bennett. It doesn't have to be good, just make sure an ER sounds is on him. Other main stats don't matter that much, but HP percent is ideal for more healing and survivability on him. And then once you've gotten your core characters geared out, your Nihida, Farina, Bennett, Xingqiu, Yelan, Kazuha, minus the ones you don't have or don't want to use, of course, then you can be like Ziox and go insane in one domain for the rest of your life. Or another approach, the one that I personally like more, building a team instead of building characters. For example, you're building Hu Tao Double Hydro, so you need 4-piece Hunters or Shimenawas, 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate for Yelan, 4-piece Troop for Farina, 4-piece Viridescent Venerer for Xian Yun. Then you can plan your resin around that. Will you farm Farina and Tao sets in the same domain and Strongbox Emblem of Severed Fate and 4-piece Viridescent? Or will you farm Shimenawas with Emblem, picking up other useful Emblem pieces, while Strongboxing Viridescent and saving Farina's set for later? You see what I mean? You're able to plan things more strategically. It's even better if you have 2 teams in mind for 2 Abyss halves, so if you have, say, a Lenny team on the other half, Hunters gains even more value for you. This is how I handle all my serious team building on my personal account. Thought I'd share in case it works for anybody else. It also prevents set sharing. Thank God that messes up accounts, I'm telling you. The nicheness of new sets is truly intriguing. It's kind of like one of those things that you only really notice when you squint your eyes hard enough and really pay attention to the patterns of how domains in this game are structured. Yes, sometimes you do just have to suck it up and farm a bad domain, but there will almost always be alternative options. Hopefully this video was able to tell you why I think that modern artifact sets are niche and how to combat this. This has been Juice, signing out, and if you ever feel useless, just remember that Maiden's Beloved exists.